Welcome to 10 Minute CS. 729 My Calendar 1. The question says you are implementing a program to use as your calendar. We can add a new event if adding the event will not cause a double booking. Now, a double booking here is when two events have some non-empty intersection. So that means, let's say event is this and we try to add another event, let's say this one. So it has a non-empty overlap, so this will be called as double booking. The event can be represented as pair of integers start and end. So this will be the start of the event, this will be the end of the event that represents a booking on the half open interval. That means an event will start from the start but the last ending time won't be counted. So that means, let's say event is from 10 to 20. So if we try to book an event from 20 till let's say 30, so this won't be counted as a double booking because it is half open and the end value is not counted within the event. So this is what they have stated: started from the start but less than end. We have to implement two functions, my calendar and boolean book function, which returns true if the event is added and false if it's not. Now let's go through a example. Now we have my calendar, we have initialized our calendar here, then we book the event 10 to 20. So currently our data structure is empty while initializing, and now we add 10 20 to it, which doesn't have any overlap with anything, so it will return a true. And now we are adding 15 25 within it, so 15 will be here and 25 will be here. As we can see, we have an overlap here, so this will return false and this event won't be added to our calendar. So even now we have 10 and 20. Now we add 20 and 30, so it will be added from here till here. As we said that is half open, that means 20 was not counted in the previous event. So if we add this event, that will also can be added and we return true. So my calendar returns null, true, true, false, true. So here we have to keep on adding the intervals and we need to check if the new interval can be added. So let's think of it a bit. Let's say we have our current interval like this and we are adding our new interval to it. So if our new interval is such that its ending is overlapping with our previous interval, then this is a false case. Similarly, if the start is coming within the range of our current, then also it's a false case. What if both start and end are within that range? Then also it's false. Also, if our new interval will be covering the current interval completely, then also it's a false case. So what are the remaining cases which will be valid? The new interval can only be added if its end is lesser than the start of the current or its start is greater than the end of the current, such that these are not overlapping at all. So this case will also be true and this case will also be a true case. So that is how we can find out whether our new interval can be added or not. Now let's say this is the case when we can add the interval. So we need to find the index at which we can add it, so that all the events are in sorted fashion. So next time whenever we have to add new event, we can just simply get the index at which it needs to be added and then can add the event there and return true. Now for that case, when we are not able to find the index, let's say if it's in range and it's a false case, we can return -1 and this will determine that the event cannot be added and we won't add the event to our calendar, and we'll return false. So our calendar can be a array list of integer array which will be of size 2, such that it will have start and end, and this is how we will initialize it. And whenever we will call our book function, we can try to add it to our calendar. Now, and our add calendar method will give us the index at which it can be added if it's a valid event. Valid event means it's in range. So if we can check if it's in range, that is our end is less than our current start, or our start is greater than our current end, that is it's in range. In this case, we can add it to our calendar, else we cannot. So if it's not in range, we can simply return -1 to our add calendar, and our book function, if it gets a -1, so it will return false. But what if it can be added? At the time, we need to find the index for it. So we can run a for loop over all our events in our sorted sorted calendar events, and for each of that I, we can check if it's not in range. For any of those, we can simply return -1, but if it's in range, that means that it can go to the next one. Now let's say our current events look like this, and we have our new event which needs to be added, and it will come here. So in this case, our I is at here first, and it check it's not in range of this, so our I will move to this one. Now it will check that our it's not in range of this one also, so it will move to the next one. But for the case when our end is lesser than our current start, so it should return this ith index. So this will be 0, 1 and 2. So that means a new event will be added at the second index, and our final calendar will look like this. It's here, here, and we have added our new event at the second index, and due to that addition, our second index will be pushed to the last one. So 0, 1, it will be added to second and third. So this is the condition which will give us the index where we need to add our event. And once found, we can just return I, and here if we are not getting -1, we got an index, so we will just add it to our calendar at that index and return true. Now look at the code. Now let's look at the code. So we have our data structure, which is list of integer array, and we initialize it with an array list. And with the book function, we find the index using the add to calendar, where we send the start, and we are here sending n-1. So we have that simplicity, and we don't have to check each time for the half open intervals. And we add to calendar from start till the end, where end is n-1 here. And if our calendar size is empty, that means that we can just add it to the calendar at the 0th index itself, and we need not to do any more computations. Otherwise, we go through the for loop, and we have our current event. If the current event is in range, that means that our end of the new event is less than the current, or the start of the new event is greater than the current end, then we return false, else we will return true. So that means if it falls into any of those true conditions, that means our new event is overlapping with one of the current events, so we return -1. And in such -1 case, we return false from the book function. Otherwise, we keep on checking for uh, for all of those events, and for any of the event, if our end is less than the current start, that means that our that the current events index can be replaced with our new one. So we return I, and this I index will be used to adding the new event to that index. If it does not lie in any of these cases, that means our new event can be added to the last of the calendar. Let's try to submit this. Yes, it passed. Let's analyze the time complexity for this. For our my calendar function, we are just initializing our calendar, so this is O1. For our book function, we are adding it to the calendar, which runs a for loop through all the calendar events, hence it is O of n. And in range is a constant, and adding to the calendar is also a constant event. So our time complexity will be O of n, while our space complexity will also be O of n, because we are using a array list for it, and ultimately it will add all the events for in it. So n is the number of events in this case, and the events are maintained in sorted order by our add to calendar function only, so we are not using any additional time complexity for sorting the events each time. Yeah, thank you for